Don't try that Halloween shit with me. Hey, what is up, you guys? It's Nick at the Lost River Driving, and I'm coming at you today to continue the Halloween franchise revisiting series, where we are revisiting Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. A little backstory on Halloween 4 for those of you that I'm sure know, but if you don't, here you go. It had been 6 years since the Halloween franchise had a movie come out in theaters. That being Halloween 3, it did not do well commercially or critically, and the franchise was kind of stagnant. Mustafa Akkad wanted to bring the franchise back, but only if they could bring Michael back too. They did not want to continue with the anthology route. Obviously, we're in the late 80s here, where horror icons like Freddy and Jason are making a killing, no pun intended. And so they wanted to bring Michael Myers back. So they get a script together written by Alan B. McElroy, they get a director, Dwight H. Little, and they make Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. So the plot of Halloween 4 basically is, it is October 30th, 1988. Michael Myers is being transferred back to Smith's Grove, where he'll presumably stay the rest of his days. He's been in a coma since the fire at the end of Halloween 2. Dr. Loomis is nowhere to be seen, and upon his transfer, he gets wind of a niece he has alive in Haddonfield. He kills the paramedics, and he makes his way to Haddonfield. But hot on his trail is Dr. Loomis. He knows Michael's going to break out. When Michael does break out, he's not shocked. Dr. Loomis goes to Haddonfield to hunt him down. Meanwhile, we get introduced to Jamie Lloyd, Laurie Strode's daughter. The story apparently is that Laurie Strode died in a car accident and Jamie became a foster kid. She was adopted by the Carruthers, and now she's being raised by Mr. and Mrs. Carruthers and her foster sister, Rachel Carruthers, played by Ellie Cornell. She knows that her uncle was the boogeyman. She's teased about it at school. She's having visions and nightmares that are plaguing her, and Michael shows up. He wants her. Is he going to get her? That's pretty much the plot of Halloween 4. So first and foremost, we have got to talk about the positives with Halloween 4. And there are quite a few here. First of all, from the very opening credits, this movie's atmosphere is on point. It is absolutely magnificent. It's damn near breathtaking. Every time I watch this movie, they really did something different. The very beginning, you're not having the theme music play with, a pumpkin of any sort. This is the first one to abandon the pumpkin opening. There's no music. It's just like wind noises. It's really giving you that desolate, isolated Midwest town feel. You've got, obviously, the iconography, too, of places like that. Being in the Midwest, I recognize it immediately. Farm communities, whatnot. And you really just feel like you're in Middle America, basically. So the opening credits are amazing. Jamie Lloyd, the character and the portrayal by Danielle Harris, is just fantastic. I absolutely love Danielle in this movie, and I think that it is very rare that you get a child actor, ask them to co-lead, if not lead, a horror film, and they knock it out of the park. Well, that is what Danielle Harris did here. She absolutely knocked this out of the park. I thought she was fantastic in this movie, and I just immediately was like, would love to see more of this actress. Glad we have seen her many, many other times on film. She's great. She really plays the innocent, scared, confused little kid amazingly well. Aside from the one part where she's like, Rachel's talking about going out. She's like, if I wasn't here, you could go out. I'm paraphrasing, but that's a pretty cringy scene. But aside from that, Danielle does fantastic. Which leads me to Donald Pleasance. Dr. Loomis in this movie is great. This was the perfect mix of Loomis going like, I knew this was going to happen. I know what's coming next. While also being totally unhinged. I mean, this guy, he's not Halloween 5 unhinged yet, but he's pretty much there. He's very, very, very pessimistic. He is pretty much lost all hope, but I can't really blame him. All he cares about is killing Michael Myers. Or capturing him, whichever. I think at this point he wants to kill him. And he doesn't care who he may hurt along the way. He doesn't care who he may offend along the way. He's going to pull a gun. If he thinks you're Michael Myers, he's shooting first and asking questions later. But I thought Donald was great in this movie. Really, I guess I should just say the cast as a whole. Both stars fantastic as Sheriff Meeker. Kathleen Kenmont is great in the movie as well. Love, love, love her. Cops do it by the book, okay? They do. Sasha Jensen is Brady. I like Brady. I mean, you know, he's your stereotypical kind of shitty boyfriend, but I like Brady. He does a good job in this movie. He may not make the best decisions, but Sasha Jensen does a good job in this movie. I think the acting all around, Rachel, Ellie Cornell, fantastic. I think the acting is great. So we'll just say the acting as a whole. Also, I think there are some really cool kills in here. And part of that was them going back and saying, we really need to add some gore. We need to add some oomph to this movie. So whether it's Earl getting his, neck ripped open, or the thumb through the forehead, or the shotgun through Kelly Meeker up against the door, they're all great. I mean, there's some really great kills in here. Justice for Bucky. I just have to say that. That is absolutely horrible. I can't believe we lost Bucky. He was a good person. He was a true friend. I'll really, really miss him. And everything that, he meant to me. The getting back to basics approach. They really do a good job in this movie. This movie is very briskly edited and paced. It's very quick. It goes at a breakneck pace. And it gets back to the approach of teenagers watching little kids. Michael shows up. Michael picks them off one by one. But the flip side here is the little kid is a lot more involved. The little kid is the primary target. So the formulaic approach of Halloween is very much here. And it feels like Halloween. This is the first one since the first one that really feels like the original Halloween. Obviously, the other two, for reasons, don't. But this really feels like the original Halloween. So it's very close in tone, but it has the advent of the kid being the main character. So I love the feel. I love the tone. I love the back to basics suspenseful approach here. I love the fact that we have this crazy group of rednecks that want to kill Michael Myers. Look, say what you will about them being stupid or over the top or whatever. It is so realistic. The police force is dead. I love the line Loomis gives when he says, you haven't got a police force. These men may be the only chance you've got. And he's like, God help us. That is fantastic because it's true. At this point, knowing what this man did 10 years ago in this town, there would be a lot of people that would take up their own arms and go, we're going out. We're going after this guy. They failed 10 years ago. We're not letting this happen again. I really like that. I really like that idea. But again, another untimely death. Ted Hollister, it's just, why? Why? I like the very ambiguous ending. I think what it tells you in a way is Michael's evil transfers, but you can take it so many different ways. Does this mean that she is Michael Myers? Like, is it genetic? Did he transfer some of it to her? Is she under his control? I mean, I can't imagine how someone took this ending in 1988. Like, what the hell is going on? It's a really ambiguous, creepy ending that sticks with you. Overall, the movie is really, really, really good. But we've got to get into some cons. And the first most glaring con. What the hell is Michael Myers in this movie? What the hell? Like, okay, you made a movie where you focused on the human characters. And for that, you should be applauded. Because they do a great job with character development. They do a great job with introducing us to new characters. Great job. 10 out of 10. But you did not focus on Michael Myers enough. Michael was an afterthought in a Halloween movie. A Halloween sequel where he's already been established as the primary antagonist. And he's an afterthought in this movie at times. What do I mean by that? The mask is awful. How did that mask pass any quality control checks? Whatever you want to call it. I don't know quality control, but you know what I mean. Screen test, whatever. What? No, it's bad. The shoulder pads. Seriously? I mean, seriously. It looks so dorky. It's so wonky. I mean, even if someone loves this film, it's their favorite movie of all time, They did not get the look of Michael Myers right. They even let a scene stick in there with a completely different mask with blonde hair. And they left it in there anyway. That is all the proof you need to know Michael was truly a secondary character in this movie. I don't even know if I'd say secondary. They just did not focus on Michael Myers enough. So you've got to point that out when you're mentioning cons for this movie. You have to. The next con, the score. Look, I know, before you say anything, oh, but it's the same score. It's John Carpenter's themes. Yes, but I do not like the renditions that Alan Howarth gives in this movie. And it starts with the opening sequence when we get the Halloween theme. I do not like the sound of it. Now, again, this is grasping at straws because I love the Halloween theme. So when I hear it, I'm still like, oh, Halloween. But I much prefer so many other renditions of this theme and this entire, score throughout the franchise. I feel like it's one of the weaker ones. I really, really do. Again, maybe I'm nitpicking, whatever. Another con. As much as I praise some of the inventive kills, some of them I wanted to see more gore. I wanted to see more happen. There was definitely some parts in this movie where you feel like they held back. And I think they held back because they were trying to really mime that simplistic approach from the original Halloween, which I did praise them for. But on the flip side of that, there is a downside. There's pros and cons to that approach. Pro, you get that feel. Con, this is a third sequel in an already established horror franchise in the late 80s. You've got to up the ante. They do at times, and then they completely hold back at other times. Brady's death is a prime example of them holding back. And I believe that from what I'd heard, they may have shot more things and cut them out, or may have had them in the script and didn't end up shooting them because they wanted to hold back, whatever it may be. That's the next con I'm leading into, which is some of the writing. That's not to say dialogue-wise. It's the convenience of some of the things that happen in this movie or some of the things that are just overshadowed completely. And again, you can't necessarily fault the film for this because this was during the writer's strike. This was right before the writer's strike. So they had like a week or so to write this script. And it shows at times. I do think it is overall a solid script. But I wanted to see that police station massacre. What happened there? Like, I want to see that happen, and we don't get any of that. I don't feel like we get enough of Loomis making his way to Haddonfield. I wanted to see more with Reverend Sayer. I loved Reverend Sayer, and I loved their chemistry on screen. It was great. I really wanted to see a little bit more of Jamie alone on Halloween being separated from Rachel. It seems very quick that she's separated, runs back into Rachel, and Michael Myers is, boogie boogie, I'm going to stab you. What I mean by this is that I just feel like had they had more time to write this script, this film would have fleshed some of that out. We would have seen some of these things really kind of spelled out more clearly for us. It's not that you don't understand why it happened. It's that you kind of wanted to see more of how we got from A to B. So again, writer's strike of 88 or 87, I believe it would have been 87. It is what it is. So I can't fault the movie too much for that, but it did leave me wanting more. But really, that's it, guys. I mean, that's really it. I don't have a lot of negatives for this movie. I don't have a lot of complaints. It's mostly positives. Again, please do not lambaste me in the comments. I'm telling you, these cons that I mentioned are nitpicky. I understand it because this is one of my favorite Halloween movies. I think it is for a lot of people. It's just a damn solid movie all around. Just damn solid. So I absolutely love Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. If I was going to score Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, I would give it... this is interesting. I got to think about this because I could go one way, and it might seem like I'm a little, I'm hating on it a little bit. I could go the other way. It might seem like I'm giving it a little bit too much praise. I'll cut the difference. I'm going to give Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, 4 out of 5 stars. I think if they would have perfected the look of Michael and the on-screen presence of Michael, paid a little bit more attention to Michael, and given us just a little bit more, left not so much to the imagination, this might be a 5 out of 5 movie. I think the cast is great. Some of the kills are great. The character development is great. The atmosphere is great. And maybe a different rendition of the theme. A little bit more tweaking there from Alan Howarth. But overall, I love Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. It is one of the strongest movies in the franchise, bar none, regardless of what some of our personal favorites are. Objectively, this is one of the better ones. I think this movie is fantastic. I hope you guys like it, but Let me know down in the comments below what you think of Halloween 4. Is this one of your favorites or one of your least favorites? Do you agree with my thoughts or am I totally wrong? Whatever you may think or however you may feel, let me know down below in the comments. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, follow me on social media, check me out on Patreon, and again, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Nick at the Lost River Drive-In, and I am pulling out.